Tracey Kitching, you are in Adelaide, correct, in Australia?
I am. I'm in a big country town, I suppose, even though it's a capital city in one of the states of Australia. I'm in the state of South Australia. It's still considered a big sleepy country town. It's not exactly Sydney, and it's definitely not Melbourne, and we quite like it that way.
Perfect,
That's
perfect.
for sure.
Well, for those who don't know me, I'm in Calgary in Western Canada, and my experience has been that Aussies and Canucks tend to get along fairly well. So I think this will be fun.
They do, they do.
You're digital Gen X, like me.
I
Um,
am.
and you have done some incredible things in the online space. So you're a good example for these conversations that I've started with this podcast. And you actually are certified now in AI as well, which
Yes.
is, we were saying before we started recording, this is kind of the latest and greatest thing that's happening, and it's changing very, very quickly. So I wanted to get into that a little bit with you, and try to simplify it a little bit for people who might be checking out this video or this podcast. Um,
Sure.
so maybe let's just start with the basics. What is AI? How do you define AI?
Okay, great question. AI is a very broad term. AI can range from the robots that you see that are eventually going to help you with your housework. That's awesome.
That's what we
Uh,
want.
it, well, exactly. I think, well, most of the time. There's different types of AI, and I think this is where everyone gets confused. There's AI that you can build, which requires an engineering coding degree. Then there's what's called generative AI, which is what I specialize in. And you actually don't need to be a genius to actually use it because all the coding, all the background has been done for you. So I think a little bit of explanation for the reason I got into generative AI was because I was completely overwhelmed with the job that I had at the time. I was an executive assistant and I was tasked with a lot of tasks, and I was looking for ways to help me streamline things, get things done faster so I could actually concentrate on things that really mattered. And that's where the generative AI, where I got certified, a guy called Jeff J. Hunter, he came across my Facebook, and he was one of what's called a beta tester for ChatGPT back in 2022. And he designed a course and then designed certification for it. So I joined that. I did the course and then completed my certification. And I was the third person in the world to be certified and the first person here in Australia to be certified. And I think what fascinated me was the more that you play with it. Like, I'm a big advocate. My background is education, and for little ones is my actual education degree in early childhood, and that's all about play. So my world, my background's all about play, and when it comes to technology, and I think this is where people of our generation, Gen X and above, is we've lost that element of play, and we think that if we touch it, we'll break it, and something really bad will happen. And my thing is you've got to play with it because it plays through, it learns through you playing with it as to how you talk, how you interact with things. It learns all about you. I know that can be scary in itself. Trust me. The things the internet knows about us now is very, very scary. So it's not just the gossip from the person on the corner of the street back in the day when we were young growing up. So I think for me, helping people because I really only deal with people and help people from 40 plus years of age, just navigate ChatGPT, there's so many out there, Claude, Perplexity, Midjourney, there's all these names out there, and you can get really bamboozled by it all. But I stick to three main things. I stick to ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. They're my three go-tos because I use Claude like I used to use Google. I don't really use Google much anymore for all my research. I use Perplexity because it's real time, plus it comes with citations and so references and things. So if you're needing research on a topic for your business or for whatever you're doing, Perplexity is fantastic because you can go in and actually read the source right there on the screen, and it, pulls everything from a variety of sources. So it's fantastic. ChatGPT is really great for ideation. If you've got, I don't know, an idea that you want to explore, you can actually now on your phone, there's a phone app for ChatGPT. You can actually have a conversation with ChatGPT and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about doing this. What are the pros? What are the cons? What do I need to be aware of? And it will give you an answer, and you can actually have a conversation with the ChatGPT. So that's exciting because you don't even need typing skills. You don't even, if you're as blind as a bat, like if I didn't have these glasses on, I wouldn't be able to see you, Rob. But you can still, so it's have a conversation, put in your prompts, ask the questions, all of that. And, it's also great for disability and inclusion. So if you have a workforce that has some people with autism or ADHD or, are on the spectrum, disability, anything like that, to make your workplace more inclusive, AI is great for that because, someone may not be able to sit there and type, but they can maybe walk and talk and still get stuff done. So it's things like that that's really, AI is really changing. The other one I actually spoke about was Claude, and Claude is more for language based. So it's really good at picking up how you write. So it's more natural in the way that it produces the outcome. And I use that for all of my content creation, all of my marketing. I use it for creating scripts for podcasts. And I also use it a little bit for strategy, like creating strategy plans and creating all the documents, because it's able to format it, and then you can copy that format and put it straight into a Google Doc. And now Claude actually is connected. You can actually connect it to your Google Drive. So it's just fantastic. There's just so much, and it is changing every day, which is why I play with it every single day, because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
It's not to be scared of. Just have a go, have a look, have a play. And, it's, if you're a professional and you really want to use it in a professional way, then I would personally suggest that you get a consultant that's actually trained to help you, because they can set things up for you, and you can, because most of the time people have all these processes in their head. Well, they can help you get that out and use AI to create that actually in a workflow.
Yeah. So I want to unpack a few things because you're
Yeah.
working with people 40 plus, you mentioned. What do
Yes.
you think are some of the common misconceptions about AI for that age group? And for those people, where would you suggest they start if they've never touched it before? I think ChatGPT is
Mm-hmm.
probably the platform with the momentum and the familiarity
Yes.
in terms of name recognition. But is that
Mm-hmm.
the place to start for people who are just getting into it?
Yeah, look, some of the obstacles that I see come across, or objections more than anything else that I see come across my computer screen, is that they can't get it to sound like them, and the authenticity. So back in the day when we used to write, physically write, It was everything coming out of our brain. And it was actually quite cathartic. When you write, it's that personalization, it's that pure feeling from you. And I get it. AI can't probably completely, what's the word? Replicate that, but it does a pretty good job. You can get it to about 80%, 80, 90%. And the way that you do that with ChatGPT is not as good as Claude, as I was saying about the language model, but you can still do it in Claude, in ChatGPT, and that is start writing in it, start speaking in it. That's the way that it will learn your voice. That's the way it will learn the way that you write, the way that you see the world. And it's very clever at picking that up. And it's a simple prompt. I would start with, hey, ChatGPT, I want to give you a sample of how I speak. How I speak is how I write. These are my thoughts, and I want you to remember them. And then start speaking. Then what you can do is say to ChatGPT, okay, can you please give me a summary of how you think that I speak and write? And it will give you a summary. It'll go back, listen, read all of the stuff that you've just inputted, and then it'll give you a summary. And look, it pretty much, right, it picks up on everything. All of your intonation, it picks up on certain words that you use, the emotion that you use, it can pick all that up. Then you can start it to ask to write something for you. And that's when you train it. So ask it to write a social media post for you. Ask it to write a letter for you, that you want to write to your grandkids or your kids. And play with it like that. And the good thing about ChatGPT, or any AI really, is that you can tell it off. Just like how I explain it to my clients is it's like onboarding a new employee into your business. Okay, you've got to educate it. You've got to tell it how you operate. You've got to tell it how you write, what the values are within your business. So it's no different on a personal basis. You've got to teach it who you are and what you're about. So that's the way that I would start. And ChatGPT, I have to admit, is the easiest to do that. But that can be done in any AI that's not already pre-trained. So the only thing, sometimes ChatGPT, because it's connected to the internet, it likes to sort of go off on its own tangent sometimes. So I always say fact check anything that AI spits out. Whereas Claude, it takes all the information from what you have given it. So it's less likely to go off on a tangent.
Okay.
I
So
know it's a lot.
it's a lot. So this is for some people, this is
Yes.
going to be sort of the fire hose of information, I know, and luckily they can
Yeah.
go back and replay some of this. I'm
Yeah.
curious, I'm just sort of reminded of my own experience with AI because you talked about how
Mhm.
when we used to write, and here I am with my pen and paper as we're speaking, because it's old habit for me just to take
Mhm.
notes as we go. But I come from journalism as a background. And I remember when ChatGPT was new, I was absolutely floored at its capabilities.
Mm.
And my mind went to, oh no, like the robots are coming and copywriters
It
are going to be
was.
wiped out and journalists are going to be wiped out and this is
Yep.
it, right? And I think there is some genuine
Fear.
fear because
Yep.
there is going to be some evolution in terms of the job
Mhm.
market as a result of this. But at the same
Yep.
time, now that I've started using some of these tools, boy, they can be incredibly helpful in the right hands in the right way,
Yeah.
right? What kinds of conversations
Absolutely.
had with people like that?
Yeah, and it is a fear, and it's a genuine fear. But my conversation with them is that learn it and use it to your advantage, because then you are a better employee if that's where you are. If you are a business owner or an entrepreneur or a freelancer, if you're a journalist, learn it, add it to your repertoire. It's no different to any other skill that you need to learn along the way and professionally develop yourself. That's how I see it. That's how I go. Like at the moment, I'm looking at going into businesses and training their staff because they don't want their staff to lose their jobs. Like that's bad for the economy of it. It's bad for their business, all the rest of it, because it gives ill will. But to allay all that fear, why not upskill your employees? Why not upskill yourself so you understand it and add it to your repertoire and then be the person that's the go-to person for in your business, in, you know, as an employee in your company, you know, be that go-to person, help other people learn it after you've learned it. Because the best way to really embed yourself in it is to teach someone else. So that's my answer to that, because fear is real. Acknowledge it. It's real. We've all seen Terminator. We've all, you know, had all the scary movies that's been put into our brain. And Elon Musk is an interesting character, as most people are with it, that have got that big brain up in that sphere. But, you know, the amount of good that it can free you, especially leaders, like in management position and stuff, it can free you up to then think more strategically for the business, because your business operations can be done by AI, or at least most of it can be done by AI. And, you know, you can also then go to your assistant, hey, you know what? Let's teach you AI, and then you can take over some of these operations and make your life and streamline your role a lot better than what it is now. So you're looking at efficiencies, you're looking at all those sorts of things. So I think, yes, I will have to talk about data privacy and ethics and all of that sort of stuff. And that's a big thing when it comes to people's fears, is that, oh no, all my information is going to be, you know, accessible to everyone. They're all learning about me. I'm sorry to tell you, but the internet already knows about you. Unless you don't touch anything, unless you are a hermit and you've lived in this little cave forever and never interacted with the world at all, then the world knows about you. I'm sorry. But that's where the ethics come in, and the ethics of data use. And, you know, I think for me, there's always good and bad. Everyone has that ability. It's what you choose to do with AI as to the ethics of it. So I always stop, and if a client, say, or a potential client is asking to do something that's unethical with AI, I won't go there. So, and I'll explain to them why, depending on the situation. They might want to scrape data and use that data in a bad way. And yeah, I won't teach people how to do that. But there'll always be someone out there that will,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I think ethics and data privacy is a fear that a lot of people have, especially of our generation and above. Like some people still don't even use ATMs, they're all cash.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the world's changing there. I still use cash. I do use, obviously, my cards and tap and go and all that sort of stuff as well. But, you know,
We
there's
can't
varying
stop it, can we?
degrees. We can't stop it.
To
And,
me, that's it. It's
well,
happening. So how do we
it
adapt?
is. Yeah, exactly. And I think the way that we adapt is we jump in, we start playing with it. If you're really serious about it and really want to use it to propel whatever you're doing, then find someone like me that's actually certified and is not someone that's just gone and learnt something quickly off some silly person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of charlatans out there, I will warn you. There's a lot of people say, oh, I can teach you AI. They
Yeah.
really can't.
Yeah.
Um, so
And it's
I
new,
think,
so I think that's to be expected. It's new, it's
yeah,
changing quickly, so
it
it is going to
is.
be a challenge to find somebody qualified to teach these things.
Yeah.
So it's good that people like you are around. Could you,
Yeah.
with your clients, what are most of them
Mm.
doing with what you teach? Are they writing social media content? Are they writing books? What are they doing with the tools that you're teaching them?
There's a variety of things actually. So a lot of the people I have are either coaches or consultants at the moment. So they use it for social media content, writing blogs, and then taking those blogs and creating social media posts for them. Some of them are using it for, I had a client the other day say to me, she goes, oh, it's been great. I've been able to input, she uses Claude, and within Claude, there's like these folders called projects. And she has a project for each of her clients. And what she does is she puts all the information, the intake form, all of her coaching transcripts, everything into this project. And then all she has to do is ask about, 5, 10 minutes before the coaching call on for that client. She goes, oh, can you give me 3 questions that we need to review? 3 questions that we need to focus on, 3 questions for the future, for homework for this client. And it will go through and read all the transcripts from the previous calls and pop it out. What used to take her an hour of getting her the physical folder out and looking over all of her notes and everything else, used to take her an hour in preparation just to do that. Now it takes her 5 minutes. So it's
Wow.
things like that. Do you know what I mean? I have
Incredible.
a lady who owns her own HR consultancy, and she used it. She goes into big businesses, corporations, and interviews the employees, managers, right through to the everyday floor staff, and ask certain questions. And this was for an actual law case that was coming up. And she recorded everything. She took recorded notes as well. And then what we did is we trained that AI and we popped all of the transcripts, all of her notes, everything about the all the conversations, and then we trained it on the a report style that she does, and how it needed to look. And then it popped out a report in exactly the right style that she needed, and then that went off to the lawyer. So, it's things like that. We always start with the end in mind and work backwards. So we process map the actual process of it all. So, and then we design the AI for that to happen. So yeah, they're using it in incredible ways. And I think my favorite is always taking a conversation script and then using that to help you create social media posts, or a meeting notes. It might create an email out of that as a follow-up for your client. There's just so many ways. I've also got another client who completely started from scratch. And she doesn't mind me saying this, she was illiterate to a certain degree. She probably had a grade 5 reading, writing level. And she went from total tech phobe. She just, yeah. She's a lovely lady, but she had no idea where to start. So, but she has a coaching business, and everything was up here in her head. And she wanted to make it more formalized and create a website and start posting on social media. But she didn't want, because of her, she's a brilliant speaker, but she's not very good at writing. So she wanted to be able to get it out of her head and down onto paper and be seen as an expert. And yeah, so we created a whole project just to start getting what was in her head down into the computer, and then creating social media posts for that. We've created a whole website for that, all the website copy. And then she gave that to her web developer. And yeah, and now she does blogs, she does everything. Like she creates, I suppose what we call in the marketing world, lead magnets, PDFs, all of that sort of stuff. So it's absolutely fantastic. And another place where people should start is Canva. Canva is an AI, and it's great at creating like birthday cards and things like that. So you can start with imagery, and there is an AI component where you can just type in what you would like and it creates it for you. So things like that, it's just amazing. So people are using it in very creative ways. People are using it in very methodical ways. It just depends on who they are.
Sure, sure, and what their outcomes need to be. But I mean, the efficiencies
Exactly.
alone sound
Oh,
absolutely amazing to me. So we've
absolutely.
got ChatGPT, we've got Perplexity, we've got
Hmm.
Claude, we've got Canva, a
Canva.
bunch of these, and I think the theme here is just start somewhere and play with it, right? Because that
Absolutely.
seems to be the best way to learn.
Absolutely. And look, I know people learn in different ways, but with technology, it really does benefit from you just playing with it, talking to it, trying things out. You know, the best teacher is a mistake, you know.
Yeah.
So you can learn from that, refine it, and it doesn't cost you anything. The thing is, with all these platforms, you can have the free versions because you're not, unless you're running a business and running it, like using it a lot, then the free versions are fantastic. And, you know, you can just play. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And have fun with it.
Have fun with it. And if something new comes along, these things always have new features, it seems. Then I
Yeah,
would say give it a
all the
try,
time.
right? Um,
Absolutely.
I think we're going to have another conversation about this, Tracy, because there are things, as we have said, changing so rapidly, and I know
Yes.
you're on top of it. So, and we didn't even get into some of the image generators like Midjourney or Leonardo, those kinds of things. There are video generators that are starting
Yes.
to make more or become more of a presence now as well.
Hmm.
It's incredible what's becoming available for people to use. And all you have to do is enter a prompt, right? And
Yes.
do you quickly, do you have a sort of a formula for prompting these different platforms?
It's really specific. So for me, it's all about the context, you know, giving it some context first, then asking it to do something. Oh, hang on. Now, giving it a context, then sometimes demonstrating the way that you would like it formatted, and then asking it a question. So it's really at the basic level, that's where I would start. So it would be things like if I wanted to write a social media post, I might, like I've got mine all trained. So the best thing is to actually have it trained on you first. But just for a quick example, I would type in or voice in. Uh, Yesterday, I spent a day with a lovely lady called Rena. We talked and talked and talked all about business and AI and where that possibility could go. Create a viral post for me in the framework that you've been trained on and give it 1,500 characters. And that's pretty much the prompt.
Yeah.
So, and then because of the way I've trained my AI, which is the best way to get it in your voice as well as how you want the output, then I would do that. So,
The more
yeah,
specific, the
and
better. Is that the case?
yeah, it is. Otherwise, AI will go off on its own tangent.
Yeah.
But keep it, that's where the context comes in. And that's where training it comes in. So you can give it a character, you can, so a role. So as I say, treat it like an employee. So if you have an executive assistant or a junior assistant or a social media manager or a journalist, so then you can actually give it that role, explain what the role is and do all of that. So, and actually train it like an employee, onboarding an employee.
Absolutely incredible. Uh,
Yeah. And the imagery ones are just touching on that, they're
yeah.
fantastic. And they're getting better and better and better. So I love HeyGen for video because you can actually recreate yourself and then pop in the script and it will create a video without you even, like you train it on your voice as well. And then it creates a video of you without you even being on the video.
Yeah.
So
Amazing
it's
and
wonderful.
scary and impressive. And
Yeah,
I mean, it's all of these things wrapped up together. But
absolutely.
it's here and it is just,
We have to embrace it.
we
That's the
have
thing.
to.
Embrace
Yeah.
it, and you'll be amazed at how much freer your life can be, especially if you're still in the work environment. You know, have a look at some of the jobs that you do that are the same process day in, day out. It's the repetitive tasks where AI is genius. So, yeah, and that'll save you a ton of time.
Awesome. Awesome. Tracey Kitching, AI expert and educator. Where can we find you?
I am all over LinkedIn. That's my main platform. I do also have a school community called AI Persona Code. And my LinkedIn is my name. So if you type in my name, Tracey Kitching with an E in the Tracy, you will find me there. And more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has in my DMs. And I'm always lurking around the internet.
Wonderful. We'll make sure we have all the appropriate links in the description below as well. Tracey,
Sure.
thanks so much for doing this. I do think we're going to have to do this again, but I appreciate you being here.
No problems, Rob. Thank you so much for your time.